Punt It Long, episode 16. We're going to start off by talking about all the underdogs at the World Cup this past week. Obviously that's kind of the first round of fixtures done, the second round just started, and there's been a lot of upsets in terms of the big teams obviously going into it. You're expecting them to win the game, and the underdogs actually came out on top. First thing I'm going to speak about is Mexico. Obviously they won 1-0 against Germany, and I'm pretty sure that was the first time they've beaten Germany at the World Cup. If not, it's the first time in a few decades at least. Irving Lozano was probably the main performer for Mexico. They had a lot of outstanding performers like Hector Herrera in the middle of the park. They had Carlos Vela as well, who played a lot of good passes throughout the game. But Irving Lozano coming into this tournament, I was expecting him to do well. I was expecting to actually have quite a big impact, and he's already proved that in the first game with the winning goal in the game against Germany. It's funny with the underdog situation because you're always expecting the big team to come and have a go and really do well in the competition, and you're expecting when you predict the groups before they all start, you're predicting that, you know, Germany, Argentina, Portugal, Brazil, that they're all going to top their groups, and Portugal have done pretty well. But in terms of the other big nations, they've not exactly done horrendously well in their first opening fixture at least. Argentina have managed to draw their game, Germany have obviously lost, England have picked up a win, and so have Portugal. Brazil were pretty disappointing as well, so the underdogs are really showing their worth at this World Cup, and teams that you didn't actually expect to perform very well are actually proving to be quite the force in the competition. I'm going to just keep this theme recurring of the underdog story, and obviously another one is Iceland. Obviously in recent years they've beaten England obviously at the Euros, I believe it was. They also frustrated Cristiano Ronaldo's Portugal when they drew 1-1 a few years back as well, and they've also went and now drawn 1-1 with Argentina in the opening game of the World Cup. And the goal scorer was Alfred Finnbogason, who was once a Lothian Thistle Hutchison Vale player who are a now East of Scotland League team, but they were a junior team back in that day I believe, so it shows you where players can come from, and it links all in with that underdog story that I'm going on about. And it's a great story for football, and it's what the World Cup's really made for. It's made for all these smaller nations to be coming in and proving that they can actually do it with the big guns. And it's nice to see that the squad with all the best players and stuff doesn't necessarily always do as well as you think. And it's nice to see, obviously the World Cup does this every year. There's always one or two really good performers. Obviously Iceland did really well at the last Euros, I believe it was, and there's been numerous other cases of that as well. Greece won one of the Euros or World Cups over about 10 years ago, so there's another story as well. And I don't know if one's going to happen this year, but with the way teams are going just now, you couldn't put it past them to at least get to the semi-finals. It's a big step obviously, but I don't know, I've just got a feeling one of them's going to make it that far and perhaps go all the way. And another last one of the underdogs was the actual hosts of the competition, Russia. Even their own fans weren't expecting this much of a upturn in results, and they knew going into it that they were only playing Egypt and Saudi Arabia, and they were expecting their team to horrendously fail and be out in the group stage. And look what they've done, they've went and scored 8 goals I believe it is. It's 5 in their first game, I think it was 3-0 last night. And they're completely steamrolling everyone in their group, and it looks like they've already made it through to the last 16. And it's great for the competition because obviously going into this competition this year especially, the focus was mainly on the trouble that Russians could cause to travelling fans and stuff, and it looks like with the team playing so well, the fans can't have anything to really make that a reality, all this kind of violence and hooliganism. And I'm not for one second saying that Russian fans are going to do that, but it was highly speculated in the media before the competition started that that could be a problem. But it looks like with the way the team's playing that everything's on the up for Russia at the moment, and as I mentioned before, they could be a shock surprise going into the last 16 and beyond. And I just want to mention briefly Ronaldo. I've never been his biggest fan. I always think Messi's been the greatest of all time in terms of my generation anyway. Ronaldo is starting to prove me wrong. He's now got, I think it's the most goals, most international goals scored by a European player ever. And with stats like that, how can you argue against them? I still like Messi more, and that's not me actually saying now that Messi is definitely 100% the better overall player, because Ronaldo is such a professional, and you see the way his body is basically chiselled. He's got his big Adam's apple that sticks out because his body's so slim and proper, and he's such a model professional, and he is an idol to look up to. He's built himself from literally nothing about 10-12 years ago, and now he's breaking all these records and is going to go down as one of the best football players of all time. And for players looking up to that, you can't exactly go any higher. And as usual here on Punt It Long, we're now going to go full circle and back to my team, Dunfermline. I would usually do a pars roundup for signing videos, but it's happened so quickly today that it's going to have to be included in this video. We've sent and signed Aidan Connolly after they left York City at the end of last season. I believe the situation with him was at the end of the 2016-17 season, when they got relegated to the National League, he asked to be released and they wouldn't release him. I believe that's what the story was, and then he sat about for a year at York and then obviously left them at the end of that season. He wasn't necessarily released as quite a lot of players are. He wanted to leave and they wouldn't let him leave, so they just let his contract run out. I think that's what the situation was with him. As far as Aidan Connolly the player goes, I think he could offer us quite a bit in terms of pace, directness, a bit like what Fraser Aird did, but maybe to a bit of a different scale. He might have a bit more flair about him. Fraser Aird was just all about the direct running and stuff, but he's only 5'5", and that is probably the only thing that kinda is a bit of a stumbling block with this one, because he's basically the height of me and I'm 5'4". I'm only an inch smaller than him, which is going to be funny going up to him at the open day, basically being able to look him in the eye, and he could literally be wearing the same size of away kit that I'll be buying. But anyway, as far as I said, Aidan Connolly the player goes, I think he'll offer us a decent wee option, and I'm not sure if he'll be a starter. I'm assuming he's coming here looking for first team football, considering he wanted to leave York to obviously go on to bigger and better things, and they wouldn't allow him to, so you'd assume that he's coming here to make sure he's playing. I think it's a good signing, and I'm hoping that he does well. The same with the Will Flood one. I'll wait and see what he does on the pitch before I properly judge him. And that's it for this video, guys. Cheers for watching. If you did enjoy it, then please give it a like. Subscribe for more of this type of content. I do this as a regular series, so if you're new to the channel, then subscribe for that. And until the next one, I'll see you then. Cheers, guys.